Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Underhood Show, presented by Mel Hambelton Ford. And yes, it's a beautiful, warm, sunny Saturday morning somewhere.
Sunny and 70, right?
Somewhere, just not here in Wichita. It is a colder than you know what out there, but it is what it is. It's got to be cold somewhere. I just wish it wasn't here from that part. So, hey, everybody, it's a call-in show, 316-462-3673. Anything ailing your car, tires, brakes, batteries, whatever you want to talk about in the automobile world. You want to talk about racing? Hey, I guess Josh said it too. Anybody want to talk more about the Salt City Speedway in Hutchinson? Love to talk to you some more, answer some questions you might have or whatever from that part. So let's get the phones ringing, 316-462-3673. Love to hear from you. It's the only show I know you get paid to call in, and every time we get a caller on the phone, Josh, what do we give them?
So we're going to send out a package. It's going to consist of the works, which is an oil change and tire rotation. We're going to use Motorcraft oil and filter products here at Mel Hambelton Ford. While we're performing that, we're also going to complete a multi-point inspection on your vehicle, checking over the brakes, tires, steering, suspension, all the safety-related components on that vehicle, just making sure that it's geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving. You'll get yourself $10 to Mel's Diner, so you can get yourself something to eat and drink while you're here with us at the big corner. Complete nitrogen for your tires, so you get all the benefits that nitrogen has to offer. And then BG Products package, which consists of a can of MOA or motor oil additive for your engine oil, and then CF5 for your fuel system. Again, just getting that vehicle geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving.
All right, let's get the phones ringing, 316-462-3673. Morning, Brooke. Morning, Jeff. Morning, Jason. Thanks for joining us. But, hey, anything ailing your car, tires, brakes, batteries, you want to talk about anything in the racing world, you want to talk about Salt City Speedway or got some questions about that, love to answer them for you. But let's get the phones ringing. As always, it's only show you know you get paid to call in on. So 316-462-3673 comes right to the main desk here. The girls, just tell them you want to get patched in the podcast, and we'll get you online here with you and get you all fixed up on your questions and help you understand things better, whatever it might be. Josh, you got a video over here on the right-hand side of the other screen.
Yeah, we do. So, with this, like you said, the colder temperatures, I had a couple of videos this morning to go through some just automotive stuff in this colder temperature. And I think a lot of people think, if it's freezing cold, they're worried about their hands or their feet or whatever.
Something like
cold
that, right?
or yeah.
I don't know about you, but I've told this man I hate this weather. I hate it.
Understand that, but I just don't think there's a whole lot of thought process behind the automobile and what it's going through in the morning when you're asking it to get out of bed when it's this cold, for sure, and so I've got a couple of videos here. One's about just oil, and there's a pour test at negative temperatures, and kind of it just shows the flow of it. It's a pretty simple video, for sure. And then anti-gel on the diesels and the gelling process on diesels, and that's a real common thing when you get colder temperatures like we're having today. But the thing for me on the pour test is thinking about people that just go out and start the car and take off, and don't give that thing a chance to warm up or get up to temperature, and what that engine has to be going through in those situations for those first crucial couple of minutes of fire up, I think are huge.
I seen a video too on this pour test of negative 30 degrees. It was in there for 24 hours at negative 30, and they had dirty oil and clean oil, and did a pour test on those two, and it's amazing too. So then then it rolls into the video, and a guy's arguing about how long it shouldn't say arguing, giving his opinion. How about that? Of how long a car should start and run before you take off and drive it.
Yeah.
And he was under the impression to give it 30 seconds and go, no matter what temperatures or whatever. I have a hard time with that too because of that. But what he was trying to say, hey, good morning, Tim. Thanks for joining us. Anyway, what he was trying to say is in the cold temperatures, and he's got some legitimate thing to it, but I still don't know that I agree with him. But in the colder temperatures, we're putting more fuel in the cylinders to burn because it needs more fuel in that colder temperatures to run. So his analogy and theory of it is that we're putting more fuel in the cylinders when it's cold, and we're just letting it sit there idling. So we're washing the cylinder walls down, and there's not enough volume of oil getting on the backside of the piston to lubricate the cylinder wall. So he thinks there's more wear than driving the car, getting it warmer faster, and getting the oil slung up in, because RPMs are high, and get the oil slung up into the cylinders. I don't know. I still want my oil moving and bleeding before I take off.
I mean, here's the other side of it is that oil, with it being colder, the viscosity of it is way, it's going to be way thicker. It's not going to flow to those places until it thins out, or has the opportunity to warm up for sure. And so I would want to not have the higher RPM until that oil had the opportunity to,
me too,
to be at all those locations.
So me, the ultimate time or whatever is enough to just get my opinion, get the temperature gauge moved. So however long that takes or whatever from that standpoint, but it is from that part. Morning, Delbert. So anyway, you want to play this video yet, or you?
Yeah, we can. If we're going to talk about the oil one first, we could probably go over here to this other one. So I didn't.
So this is going to be
didn't do exactly all of my job here. So give me just a minute to get a couple of things set up.
So anyway, we're going to do a pour test of what you're going to show here, right?
Yeah.
And show what the oil's like when it's cold, and to try to figure out what we can do. Get this screen up over here and stuff too. And we got a caller coming in too, Josh. So
why don't you text
I'll send the caller.
We'll get the caller patch through, and then
we can play the video. So we're going to do a video. How cold is this oil? Do you know?
So I think this is the -20. I believe is what the temperature is on this deal. So, but let's get
Jason on the phone and get him
and I don't know why we're doing that. If you want to go through and read who all's on this morning or said good morning and up on the cast. Send Jason.
I think I kind of got everybody. It's on there so far. I think so.
Yeah.
So anyway, 316-462-3673. Love to hear from you. We'll get Jason patched in here, and then we'll show this video of the -20 pour oil test and see what that looks like. I know what that -30 looks like, cold and.
Yeah, so I was actually looking for that video, and I was going to show the new oil versus the used oil this morning because I run across that same thing, and then the question is, well, what oil do you want in your engine? Well, I know which one I want in mine, that newer, fresher oil for sure, with it being this cold of temperatures.
Anyway, Brooke says she's kind of at I would say, loud place, and any updates on the partnership with South Hyde? Any updates? I'm not sure where we're at with South Hyde. I need to get with Lisa and find out what's going on there, Brooke. Not 100% sure from that part. So I'll check into that and let you know from that point. Morning, James. I guess we're not going to get him passed through here. We keep kind of pausing here and everybody waiting on Jason to get passed through. So we'll have to. Morning, James. And Jeff wants to know, should different weight or viscosities be ran in colder months versus warm months? Well, years ago, that was true. We got Jason?
Yeah. Yep. We got him on here. So, but you can go ahead and answer your question there. Or...
Oh, no, let's get Jason going here. We got him on the phone.
Yep. You're live. Jason, good morning. You're live with Under the Hood.
Morning, guys. Cold enough for you?
No, I hate it. Yes, it is cold enough. Yeah, I hate this weather.
It's 110 degrees right now, Phil.
Yeah, I know. It's 4
I
degrees.
would literally
when I
take
left my
110
house.
degrees right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Yep.
So a couple of weeks ago, I called you guys about tires for my truck and stuff.
Yep.
I got to tell you, I came in last week. I bought the Michelin Defenders, and dude, I'm going to tell you, that truck has never ran so smooth in its life.
The Defenders, yeah, that's on an F-150. That's my favorite tire that you can put on F-150, and you're right, it changes the ride drastically. What you don't realize too is as your tires wear, and it goes as a gradual wear, you lose a lot of ride comfort and handling and everything else like that. When you put a brand new set of tires on, it's like a night and day difference on those tires and stuff too. But yeah, that Michelin Defender, that is my favorite tire for an F-150. Now, if you're going off road and stuff like that, different deal, because a Defender is not a very high traction tire, but for an overall use of an F-150, most everybody does. I mean, that is just my favorite tire for sure. So we got
go off road and you would get a Raptor.
There you go. There you go. There's a lot of issues with customers when they drive on dirt roads and that kind of thing or whatever from that part. They might want to do a different tire from that part. But again, it's that Michelin is just a great wearing tire. And I can't tell you how many sets of those I put on F-150s.
Well, I just want to call and thank you guys for the recommendation. I appreciate it.
No, glad to take care of you, buddy. And we'll keep track of those tires for you. And because, every 5,000 miles, we rotate them for you since you bought them from us stuff too. So just keep us in touch what we can do for you.
I even got the micro package on them. So that was a plus too.
Hey, there you go.
Very good. Yeah, very good.
So,
Awesome.
all right, guys, you have a good weekend. Thanks.
Thank you.
too. Thanks.
Oh, okay. So back to Jeff's question: different viscosities in colder months and warm months. Well, Jeff, years ago, I remember in my dad's shop, we would be putting 20 weights in the winter, and we'd be doing 30 weights in the summer, and then we went to the multi viscosities, and it was a 1040 Pennzoil. I can't tell you how many cans of Pennzoil I stuck a spout in and bruised my hand and
Were
everything.
they the
metal cans?
yeah.
But we had to
Had
spout,
a little church key.
jam the spout down in top of the can.
Okay.
And pour it in and go. I can't tell you how many of those things I punched in.
The other day, I
Yeah.
asked somebody, I don't even know what it was for. I asked somebody if they had a church key, and they looked at me like I
Isn't
was
that funny?
stupid.
Yeah, I didn't use a church key too much.
So then I walked around and asked like 3 or 4 people, and I got more, I don't know what you're talking about, than I did. Yeah, no, I don't have one of those.
I think I got one in my toolbox.
Do you?
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah.
I think I do.
You might not tell too many people that. It might date you a little bit.
But anyway, so Jeff, years ago we did that, but now today with these multi-viscosity oils and stuff like that, really not necessary. Everybody want to know what weight your oil uses is basically it's just about every manufacturer puts the weight of the oil they want in that engine on the oil cap. But there is extreme conditions of cold and extreme conditions of hot, and they do alter that if you're going to be running in those kind of temperatures or whatever. But for the most of the time around here, all the time from this cold weather to whatever, the multi viscosities and our most popular still is a 530, isn't it? Or is it 520 now?
Yeah, 520 is about the most common oil.
So see, years ago it was a 1040, and we're all the way down to a 520.
Yeah.
We're almost at water.
Yeah.
It's kind of where we're at too. So anyway, thanks for that question. And Bruce Richardson, best service department ever, just had our 2020 Explorer service and some great repairs done, and experience is fantastic. Hey, Bruce, thank you very much. Appreciate that very much too. So 316-462-3673. Let's get the phones ringing. Okay, we're going to do a pour test, right, Josh?
Yeah. So this is in like -20 is what the temperature is on this, and it just shows the different weights of the oils. And so there's your 030, 530, which is 520 is probably what's most common now. But look at how slow that is in -20. I'm thinking of a vehicle starting up and
trying to get that oil where it
trying
needs
to
to get.
that oil where it needs to get, and then put her in drive and go.
Yeah.
And then you get up to some diesel weight oils as well. You have diesels now that have 1030 in them.
Isn't that crazy? Look
Yeah.
at that difference of the weights. So now you think about that. If you got that 2050 and you're trying to push that through, it's going to take forever for that oil to get anywhere whatsoever in that video. So so anyway, that's your pour test of these oils, and it's kind of one I saw was -30 for 24 hours, and it was old oil and new oil, and it was about the same difference how much that old oil was slower from the 520 to the 030 to 520 from that part, how much difference it made too. So we just got to think about that when you got your cars these cold and everything else, you're sitting outside doing that part, and trying to start your car and get that oil where it needs to go.
It's you got to give it a minute. You can't just hop in and go for sure.
Yeah.
And then the other side of that, if you add sludge into that as the oil's used, or moisture, if there's moisture in the oil, that's just going to make it way worse on being able to get that oil where it needs to go in these colder temperatures for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Aaron, I'm going to get to your question here in just a little bit, because since what we're talking about, Jason comes back here and says, talking about gelling on trucks, which is our next step we want to go to, is talking about gelling of diesel fuel. And basically diesel fuel, there is a summer gas and a winter gas of diesel. And basically if you end up running a summer gas diesel in a winter months, you're going to have problems. It's going to gel up. And basically what it is, there's like a wax inside the diesel fuel. It goes up just like a solid wax and burns up.
That is pretty much exactly what this deal explains over here.
So we're going to play that. So anyway, so Jason says truckers put in a gallon of regular gas in the mix with the diesel. Would you recommend this? Absolutely not.
Yeah, with today's fuel systems and
Yeah, that would be detrimental, really bad to put regular gasoline into a diesel from that part. So, Josh, are we ready to play this video?
yeah, I can. We'll go ahead.
And this video here is what?
So let's do this. We'll go over here. So this is talking about the different styles of diesel. So if you want to go ahead and enlarge that over there.
Like this?
Yep, do that. We'll get that up there, and then now come over here and
Okay, let's play it.
flip this. I'll get this unmuted, and then now you can play that.
Stopped it, huh?
Yeah, it did. So the rest of it is an ad for their cooler or warmer.
Well, let's get into that. So diesel guys, when it gets to 30 degrees, basically, you need to be putting some kind of an additive in that diesel truck to stop the gelling from happening. And of course, I'm recommending anymore now that the sulfur's out of the fuel and stuff like that is putting something in year round in the trucks just to keep them lubricating and everything else to that part. Ford's got their recommendation of cetane boost, I think is what it's called.
Yep.
Of what they recommend to be putting in the trucks. I'm a BG fan. I love their products. I love what it is. My diesel generator, it gets the BG products put in it year round. But you need to be putting something in these diesels. There's no way around it. But I would, if I have a diesel and I want it to run many, many, many miles, I would be putting the BG products in there of the fuel additive to help protect the pumps, the injectors, and everything, keep it lubricated like it needs to be lubricated from that part.
I don't think the average consumer understands the different grades of diesel fuel that are out there. You know, the grade the 1 and 2, and then when you get into the biodiesels, and then also the ultra low sulfur, and that sulfur and the lubrication that provided when it was in the fuel previously. And so what we run into most commonly is, hey, my vehicle, it's cold, now it won't start. And at that point, I mean, it's too late to go through and put an anti-gel in it at that point in time. After it's already gelled up, it's not going to do you anything. It's not going to do any good.
Delbert says our video did not have any sound, Josh. I don't know.
Oh, it did not.
So anyway, sorry about that. Maybe we can try it again sometime here soon or whatever, but that part. But yeah, well, sorry. At least maybe they saw the video, a little something going through there or whatever on the diesel. But basically, it was just saying basically how the different diesel fuels are. They all have wax in them. And it will gel at some point at some temperatures. Doesn't matter what you're at, but that's why I still say you need to be putting an additive in the diesels from that part. It's no different than gasoline engine stuff too. In the BG products we have there for that, I would be putting a can of 44K in about every 10th tank or something like that, and then I'd be putting MOA in every one of my oil changes and stuff too. But there's all kinds of things we can do. We just need to sit down with you and. Yeah, James Anderson said too. Lost the auto. You lost the sound. So anyway, sorry everybody. We're getting too tech on our side, aren't we, Josh?
Yeah.
for that part. So any more questions at all on the diesel fuel, let us know. Or, hey, let's get on the phones, 316-462-3673. Love to hear from you from that part too. So let's back up to where'd it go? Aaron, can we run American racers at Hutch? Well, let's talk about, if that's where we want to go. Is everybody want to move to the Hutch racetrack and talk about that? Last week we announced our schedule and dates that we have. And I guess where I want to clarify more than anything about Hutch is us getting to the table to get an approval from the fairgrounds in January has put us way behind the 8 ball on this racetrack for 2024. We have the dates that I posted. We got another caller coming in, Josh.
We'll work on that.
The dates that I posted out there last Saturday, that's the only dates that are available for us to race in 2024. That is it. I didn't get a choice. I didn't get a pick. I didn't get anything at all. Those were the dates that I was presented from the fair that was open for us to go race. Okay. So, Aaron, I'm going to run, because of who we are with Hoosier, I'm going to run an IMCA sanctioned track. Everybody got all lit up about that too, in fact, from that part. But you got to understand, I'm trying to build this track from a once a year running race to a 8 to 9, possibly 10 races in 2024, weather permitting on some of these races and stuff too. I want to, and my IMCA guys want to be able to get national points with this track. So we're trying to put those races together. Now, if you look on the schedule that I put out there, there's dates after October that are open that we're going to do different things at the racetrack to give everybody a chance to race. So at those races, when Aaron, that are coming up after that, we'll have all kinds of ideas. We've already been talking to the racers about what to do in those last few races and dates that we have available from that part. But then in 2025, we'll have a more open schedule, more things we can go do and stuff like that. But I was just so limited in the dates that I could have for 2024. And I hope everybody understands that. Everybody was out there blasting me with saying, hey, I thought we were trying to save the Nationals. No, we were trying to save a racetrack. We weren't trying to save the Nationals. We can't run once a year on a racetrack and the fair board to approve us to let us go race. We have to race more than once a year to keep that racetrack. And I want everybody to understand that. I am trying to save a racetrack. I'm trying to keep places for us to go race. 2025, if we prove to the fair board for 2024 that we can fill the stands, people want to come and all that kind of stuff, and I can show my numbers in October, we'll be able to put a better plan together for 2025 and 26 and 27 moving forward. I've got all kinds of plans of what I want to do with that racetrack as far as dirt and everything else like that, but I can't afford to take a gamble on a 1-year deal to know whether it's going to work or it's not going to work. So in October is my time to sit down with the fair board and say, hey, here's where we're at. Here's what we're doing. Here's my numbers. And are we going to move forward for 25, 26, 27 on forward? Then if we do that, then I've got all kinds of ideas and all kinds of things I want to do with that racetrack and make it happen. So Aaron, for the IMCA tracks, we're going to run Hoosiers, okay, on those events. But there's going to be some other events where you'll be able to come over and run different events. And again, I've talked to different racers about different stuff about what we want to run those last few nights and that thing too. But again, weather's going to be a factor. So Aaron, if you want to call in and got some more questions, love to hear from you. Or anybody's got some questions or want to hear from me, whatever, love to hear from you. Anyway, you got some callers, right, Josh?
Yeah, we do. Let's go to the phones and let's talk to Steve. Steve, you're on live with Under the Hood.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a 2011 Chevrolet Impala and was coming home in the cold about 3 weeks ago or so. Turned the defroster on and it fogged up all the windows. And I'm kind of wondering if it's probably a heater core that might be leaking, but it's not leaking on the floor, and it doesn't look like I'm losing any coolant. But you can kind of smell it a little bit, but not too much. And I wondered if there's a way for you to test that before you tear the dash out and all that kind of stuff.
Well, so
and then I have a follow-up question.
Okay. If it is leaking coolant, the first thing you do is just run a pressure test on the cooling system. And it should be leaking somewhere, whether that's into the case and then out the drain case outside. And it does not take a whole lot of coolant in order for it to produce that type of symptom. But a couple things we could do, we've got bore scopes where we're able to go up the drain of the case or down in the vent to be able to see if there was any type of coolant leak in there. But if you're getting the coolant odor or smell when you have that defrost on and it's fogging up inside, the odds of it being the heater core are probably pretty good for sure. But there's a couple different tests and things we can do to prove that out before we just go putting a whole heater core in the thing, because that's a pretty extensive job for sure.
Yeah, and then the other thing I wanted to ask was, does stop leak fix anything like that? Or is that a permanent? I never did think much of
here's
chemicals that are supposed to find the leak and fix it. It's like, do they plug up everything else too?
Yeah, that's the thing with that. There used to be some, years ago with the older cars and stuff where the patches were bigger and that kind of thing. The stop leak and stuff was a great thing. But today with our smaller clearances, I guess I would say, and different things like that, the stop leak is not a great thing anymore like it used to be years ago. Man, I used to use a lot of it 2 years ago.
It will be a temporary resolution to a problem, and you will end up compounding and make it way worse. I mean, the chemicals and stuff that they use to make that, it's basically, something that is going to restrict your flow of coolant to all of the other items and the vehicle as well. And then just the chemical makeup of it on like your rubberized hoses and stuff like that. I mean, I've seen a lot of adverse effects years down the road when somebody adds a chemical like that to be able to be a positive thing long term is not. You may save yourself a heater core repair at this point, but what it will cost you later on down the road in coolant repairs will be astronomical.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, yeah, back in the days too with the other radiators, when we had the metal radiators instead of plastic radiators like we have now and stuff like that, the leaks would happen more often. And I mean, I used to remember we were pulling radiators all the time and sending them off to radiator shops and getting them fixed and everything else and bringing them back. We don't do that anymore. But it's just part of the ball game, how things have changed and evolved and stuff from that part.
All right. I sure appreciate the information. I'll bring it out there.
Yeah, Steve, we'll get a diagnostic added onto your package and take a look at that at no charge to you and figure out exactly what's going on with that heater core. Because like I said, that it can be a pretty large undertaking on one of those for sure. So, okay.
It is. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, buddy. Yep. All right. 316-462-3673. Anybody else got some questions? Anything ailing your car, tires, brakes, batteries, anything in the automobile world? Want to talk more about that diesel fuel that had no audio? We just ain't techy enough, Josh.
Mistake. Yeah, I think
But from that part. But again, 316-462-3673, and we'll answer your questions and get you online here or whatever. Just patch us up and make sure we got it. So anyway, Delbert also wants to know about buying tickets. So I'll talk about that a little bit too. We are working on, I thought we'd have it out by now, but it's taken Big Corner Creative a little more time because I have a couple more things I changed on the website and different things. And I met with my race pass while I was down at the Chili Bowl last Saturday and getting that all set up first. And so we're very close to launching everything from and it will be saltcityspeedway.com. We do have that URL bot, and it'll all be a Facebook, a YouTube, an Instagram. It'll all be setting out there shortly for you. Everything's going to get linked with my race pass, which is very cool. I didn't know that tool did as much as it does from a racetrack side. So it's great to see everything there that we'll be able to do to keep you updated and all that kind of stuff too. So that's where you'll be able to buy tickets at saltcityspeedway.com. Or you can get them through my race pass, whatever it is from that part. So anyway, that's the other reason we're doing all this electronically, because I want to be able to have bona fide solid facts that I can go back to the fairgrounds for the fair board in October and show them how many people came, how many pit passes we sold and all that stuff in there to have accurate data and good data that shows the fair board exactly what we did for 2024. So I need everybody that voted for this track, I need everybody to come help me support this track and help put this thing together and show the fair board they were wrong about wanting to tear down this racetrack. So let's get the phones ringing. 316-462-3673. Love to hear from you. And from that part.
And what was the first race?
April 26th is our first race. Probably the most exciting thing we got going on is going to be the Silver Crown cars that are coming in July.
Uh-huh.
The 19th and 20th. On the 19th, they will practice, and we'll have some races on that 19th. Then on the 20th, they will qualify, and we will race those cars, and we are scheduled. We'll see how it works. We're scheduled for a 100-lapper.
Very good.
Okay. But I hope we can do that. I'm hoping we have the racetrack dialed in by then. We've got it worked really well. I'm telling you, ready, Josh, I've got a ton of excitement with that. I got a lot of people reaching out saying, hey, they want to help, which is great. So I can't thank everybody enough for everything they're going to put together, from tractors to graders to discs to sheep's foot and water trucks and everything else in that part. But I got a lot of people reaching out saying we got some stuff ready to go. And so excited for that. So we'll be able to announce some more sponsors and more things coming on with that part of it. Just like I said, had to wait till January the 9th to get started on some of this stuff. We're really way behind the 8 ball. We should have been doing this stuff back in November, but it is what it is. I'm just glad the Fair Board voted 13-0 to let us race in 2024. And now we just got to fill them grandstands and fill those pits full of cars and show them that everybody we're excited to go race them and go make it happen. So anyway.
Definitely going to be an exciting summer for sure.
It's just going to be very exciting. Very exciting. So anyway, hope I answered some more questions there or whatever. If you got some more questions, love to hear from you. If you want to put them in the chat line or you want to get on the phone, of course, you get a great package about over $130 just for calling in and asking a great question, whatever it might be. It's on your mind about anything in the automobile world, anything from that part. Love to hear from you. 316-462-3673.
So how about the new 24 pickup?
24 F-150?
Yeah.
We're going to see him here very shortly.
Have you seen the okay to buy on that deal yet? Or?
No, have not seen the okay to buy it. What that means is that's the trucks that basically they build them, and then once they think they've got a good enough quality on the trucks or whatever, then they basically okay to buy is us dealers buying the trucks. Then once we can buy the trucks, then they are put on railheads and they're shipped everywhere from that part. From that standpoint. So I've got a bunch of them coming. There's a few of them on the website already. You can kind of see what's coming on the 24s. Mm-hmm. The high-end trucks, they did it backwards again. They did it kind of like they did the Super Duties. They're starting with the lower trim levels and moving up. But I do have probably 100 of them on the way.
Yeah. So
new truck, new design, new redone and everything else too. So it's exciting to going to happen. Okay. So Brian Adams, a diesel oil change question. I have a 2011 and a 16 F-250, both with the 6.7. Typically, they want oil changes around every 7,500 miles. My new 2023 F-150, so right now had 8,000 miles on it, yet claims it's still at 50% oil life. Did anything change on the 23s that would have made that last longer? Well, first of all, Brian, Josh and I are both in the same scenario, and I have been negative about these oil change lights and monitors and all that kind of stuff because it's not testing your oil. It's using an algorithm of how long the engine takes to warm up, how many RPM it's done, how much it's idled, all that kind of stuff to determine that factor. And I'm going to tell you, if you let that diesel go to 16,000 miles on an oil change, you're just taking so much life out of that truck. An oil change is so inexpensive, the best insurance in the world you can do. To keep that. And remember, your oil, especially in a diesel, the oil cools your engine more than the coolant does. That's what the oil is doing, is cooling everything off. And if you start letting that oil get thicker, sludge up, carbon build up, everything else like that, it's going to start killing passages in your in the engine to flow that oil. And I'm still a firm believer 5,000 mile oil changes because it's a cheap insurance just to keep that oil clean, fresh, and especially with all the more carbon and stuff that a diesel produces and stuff too. So
yeah, the other thing on diesels too is you really have to watch your hours. The hour meter on run time. If it's a highway truck, probably not as much, but we see a lot of times we'll get company trucks in here that they're going 4,000 or 5,000 miles in between oil change intervals, but they're running them 250 hours in between oil change intervals, and you can't do that. I mean, that's the equivalent of many more miles.
Yep.
And so, yeah, you really have to watch your engine hours too.
Yeah. So, Brian, I think really on your 23, basically, they've just changed the algorithm on those trucks and stuff to make it that long. But I'm just saying it's detrimental, in my opinion, to let a truck go 16,000, even 10,000 miles is too long on a diesel, even though it's got more oil, more stuff in there. But usually when you got a diesel engine, you're doing what? You're working that truck. That's why you got a diesel from that part. So I would not dare. I mean, even 7,500 miles is max I would do on a 3/4 or 1 ton diesel truck today. So Jeff Daniel wants to know if my bubble car is going to pace the field. Absolutely not. Nope. Going to stay right there in the bubble, stay clean. Can you imagine I brought that on the racetrack? Those guys would probably just try to hit me.
Yeah. No.
So, no, it's going to stay right in the bubble. I was looking at it last night, Jeff. Had to go out there in the garage and had some guys over, and they thought that we need to go take it for a spin. Well, it takes too much to get it out of the bubble. And remember, I told you I did that on purpose. I made things stacked around it, so it takes too much to get it out. So the ends, it just can't happen. Even if we want to make it happen, it's going to take too long to
we
get
can
it.
make it happen.
Oh, it can happen.
Yeah,
Just,
we can make it happen.
they were trying awful hard last night to get it to go, and no, couldn't happen. So.
Well, good deal. We've got a caller on the line, so let's go to the phones and let's talk to Delbert. Delbert, you're on live with Under the Hood.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are we today?
Doing great. Been a little while.
Salt City Speedway. Let's do this.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Are you coming?
I'm going to try.
All right. Beautiful.
We can make weekends work.
Yeah, sure can. Sure can. So
I got a little 9-year-old that'd love to come see those races.
Well,
yeah,
good.
you need to get a pit. Well, of course, the other thing we're going to do after the races, we will open the pits up for the spectators to come down in the pits and stuff and mingle with the drivers and stuff too. But it'd be pretty cool if you got him a pit pass and come down the pits and watch it in action, watch all these pit guys go to work on the cars and what happens inside the track and all that kind of stuff too. So, we're going to pit inside the track, but I hope we have to not pit inside the track because there's so many cars. We got to pit outside too. So, from that part, but we're going to start pitting inside. So it'd be very cool for him to come down there and check everything out.
So I was calling on batteries, by the way. I want to thank you guys for allowing me to have a battery that lasted about 8 months longer than it should have. When I say that, your service department told me, I think back in June, that I needed a battery. I was getting like 250 cold cranking amps. And last weekend, that very cold weekend, it finally said, nope, I'm not starting no more.
Well, there's quite a few batteries have said that today, in this week, and last week.
So, I just wanted to say that if somebody goes to your shop and you tell them that their battery's low, they probably should listen to you, at least if nothing else, save some money up to pay for that battery install, because
it's going to happen.
My escape's a little bit more difficult, but some are really easy. Mine's a little more difficult for some. But, I just went ahead and got that new Ford battery, motocross battery, put it in there. And she's just as happy as a lark right now.
Yeah, and I agree with you. It's great about the technology we have today, because years ago, we just waited till the car wouldn't start, and then we'd put a battery charger on it. We had this whole carbon pile tester. We loaded up, see how much it would hold, and man, we didn't realize how much damage you're really doing to those batteries, even doing that to them. So it's very cool, the testers we have today that doesn't put any stress on the batteries or anything. And we can tell. So if you got a 600 cold cranking amp battery and she's down to 300, and guess what? It's still starting the car, because that only takes about 250 amps to start your car. But if I've got a 600 and she's at 300, guess what? She's coming out. I want another one in there, so I don't have to worry about that. So that's what's great about the technology we have today, is being able to tell as a battery degrades.
It was known, and I was ready for it. It's just a matter of when it was going to stop working, and she didn't drive it all those 4 days. We had a 4-day weekend here. And she didn't drive it. She went to go to work on Monday, and it's like, oh no, it's not starting.
Yeah.
So there you are, ready to go to work, out in the cold weather, and it wouldn't start.
Well, her car sits in the garage, but it still gets cold in there.
Yeah.
It's not heated or anything, but it's still. It's kind of surprising it wouldn't start.
At least you got to change it out in the garage then.
Oh, I wouldn't have minded. I just went ahead, like I said. I looked around, and the only place that had them was one of the Ford dealerships here, and nobody had any AGM batteries here.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, make sure if they tell you, try looking for those batteries, because they could be low on stock some places. So
That's very true. Very true. So just make sure that every time we come.
But Ford seems to always have everything you need, so that's where I'm going with that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway,
If they
Dilbert.
can't get it. So let's talk about the Ford Lightning that they're going to slow the production down. I wonder why that is.
Yeah, well, we all got opinions on that, I think, Dilbert, from that standpoint. And
I
I
hope
get
they
it.
increase the hybrids ones. I hope they increase those. So
Well, I will tell you
maybe they do that.
in the F-150 for 24, they're predicting 70% of those trucks to be the hybrid version coming out of the assembly line from that part. So that's very cool.
Well, a friend of mine that has one of those hybrid Fords, and he loves it.
Well, and that's just for an example. I was in a truck earlier this week in this cold weather, and it was not it was just a regular 3.5. And driving back and forth working this cold weather, I got 13 miles to the gallon. Okay. So they sold that truck. So I jumped in another one, and this one is a hybrid. And I got 19 miles to the gallon today. So that's the better advantage that I see of the situation from that part. Tim Daniels thinks the Kool-Aid's out again, once again. So,
yeah, my friend has a 21 hybrid Ford F-150. So and he's pretty similar. He said 18 miles a gallon is what he's getting. And that's a 2-year-old truck. So
yeah. And the other thing is the in normal temperatures and stuff like that, not these cold extreme deals, in a normal EcoBoost, I would get 16, 17 miles to the gallon. In a hybrid, I'm going to get 21, 22, 23, somewhere in that part from that part. So
yeah, they're great. I really think hybrids the way they should go for a while until they can get the battery technology improved. I know they're working on it. There's
I don't even think
battery they're working on it.
It's a combination of things to me, Delbert, too. You're right, the battery technology to make them longer range and quicker to charge, that kind of stuff. But I think we're a long ways from that situation. But the infrastructure of have everything set up for people to get the charge when they need it and all that kind of stuff, especially in this cold weathers like this today. I've seen so many different memes and stuff like that, and Facebook posts of people sitting there with their Teslas at the charge stations and can't get home and all that kind of stuff too. And from that part. So that's another thing is having an infrastructure where you can get a charge and get there. But I don't know about you, but if I was leaving on a cold day in an electric car, there could be 100% charge before I left. It wouldn't be going unless it was a good charge in that thing or whatever. I would make sure I had my trip planned out very, very well where I was going from that part. But again, don't need to worry about it.
I think, here in like Wichita, America and Oklahoma City, America, I think we're probably good if somebody wants to own an electric car, but I wouldn't take it very far in this kind of cold weather, though. I wouldn't drive it across country.
Yep, I get it. So anyway, there's more to come on these electric cars and stuff, and where we're going to head, where it's going to happen, where the demand's really going to be, and whether the consumers are going to buy them. That's the next thing is, will we buy them? Will we not buy them, or whatever from that part? So times a lot of guessing, a lot of anticipation for what's going to happen in the next few years with those cars.
Well, part of it was brought on by an administration that doesn't know what they're talking about. But.
Yep. Afraid so.
But otherwise, I think the dealers, I say dealerships, the manufacturers would have probably come up with their own plan on how to become all electric, and it would have worked out a lot better than the administration forcing it on everybody.
Well, and I agree with that. But another aspect of this too is what our government has to do, in my opinion, like what, we all got one. But they've got to relax on this CAFE rating that they're making these. It's the corporate average fuel economy that the manufacturers have to hit. I get that years ago, making them do that because that made the cars run so much cleaner and more efficient. Well, today, even at the trucks, these F-150s that are getting, 15 to 20 miles to a gallon, they're still running so much cleaner than they were years ago. So we need to worry about putting out clean emissions and not worried about so much of a fuel mileage, and they need to back off of that a little bit. But that's what's happened here. The government's come out with this high number, and I don't even know what the number is anymore. It was in the 40s, and that's why some of the manufacturers are pushing this, because it would be, if for the stat was out there that every Lightning that Ford sold, it would let them make 10 more F-150s. So that's part of it. But I still think the government's just got to relax on a CAFE rating and give these manufacturers a break before we can build the infrastructure to get electric cars more beneficial and that sort of thing too. Now, is there a niche for an electric car? Yeah, I think there is. A person that drives 10 miles a day back and forth and can have a charger plugged in her house, no brainer. But for
I agree.
not for you, Delbert, doing the Uber driving and that kind of stuff, not very feasible. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, some people use them down here, but like I said, here I think here in the we'll call it the warmer climates that don't really have extreme colds very often. I think they're probably good down here in Wichita, but they're going to have to be, like you said, starting out fully charged and probably halfway through the day, and they have to go get another charge in this cold extreme. But
yep,
that's something that they have to deal with. They know that. So
yep, agree with you 100%.
People that don't know the electric cars use them for just every day back and forth to work driving.
Yep, and I drove a Lightning for like 2,000 miles, and my trip is 12 miles each way, and I had no problem whatsoever going anywhere for quite a while. But if I was going to go to Kansas City or whatever, you got to do a lot of planning. Got to make sure where you're going to stop. Make sure where you stop, you're going to have something to do for a little bit to charge up to get there from that part. But
hopefully at least points got a charging station in Topeka. But
yeah.
I think Topeka does have a charging station.
Yeah.
There's a few. It's getting better and all that kind of stuff too. But I think that's just a combination of everything. Where this is all going to happen is it's got to get more places to charge. The technology's got to get a little bit better so we can take a charge faster. But the other thing is on what they're telling us so far in this battery technology is the faster you charge the battery right now with the technology we have, you're doing damage to the battery. So the slower you can charge them, the better for that deal. From that standpoint. So we've got to get our batteries better and all that kind of stuff too. Hey, I seen the other in the shop last week. I seen Cole. He had one apart, replacing cells in one. So there's all, yeah. Right. So at least it's repairable and not being I have to replace the whole battery and that kind of thing too, which is kind of cool. So anyway, Delbert.
All right, well, I'll let you guys get somebody else, hopefully, and we'll talk to you next time. You guys have a great day at Mel Hambelton Ford.
You too, Delbert.
Cars, make the business.
You too.
Enjoy your day, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Too.
Bye.
All right, Destin, why is the 10-speed behind the 5.0 F-150 more spunkier than the 6-speed? Geez, I have a loaner, and it's the moment, and I said, whoa, kind of like it. Yeah, it is kind of crazy what that 10-speed does to those trucks. That it really brings them to life, and I think a lot of it is just you can have so many more different gear ratios and that sort of thing in that truck. That the thing that still amazed me with that 10-speed is you just don't even feel it shift. It's that cool at everything else from that part.
And just because there's 10 gears there, I mean, the computer is going through and based on load and acceleration and everything like that. I mean, you could go from first to fourth, or depending
on what you're doing and all that kind of stuff too.
What's going on, but yeah, it's very smooth operation for sure.
So, Dustin, it sounds like it's time for an upgrade for you, is what it sounds like to me. So, but yeah, it does. It's when they first come out with those 10 speeds, it was night and day different. Then when they put them in the Super Duties, I mean, it was really night and day different on a Super Duty. You put that 10 speed in behind those trucks too. So, but I think a lot of it is just all the different gear ratios that you can put in those trucks from that standpoint too. So. Okay, Josh, we're about out of time, about out of stuff, and hope we've answered everybody's questions and stuff. But if we got a few minutes left here, if you want someone to jump in here, 316-462-3673, or got something in the chat line you want to hit me with real quick, love to hear from you. But other than that, Josh, it's cold out. Everybody, make sure you're warm your cars up. I'm saying warm them up for at least in this cold temperature, 3 to 5 minutes before you take off. We showed you the pour test. If you got a diesel, please get some additive in that diesel so it stops from gelling up.
Yep.
And please don't go over 5,000 miles on a gasoline engine, and don't go over 7,500 miles on a diesel engine for maintenance from that part. And always be putting something in that diesel. Make sure she's not going to gel up on you in that time frame either. So anyway, anything else, Josh, before we
think it's been forever. We did the last couple shows, and I'm not sure that we went through sponsors or anything like that.
Delbert said the same thing too. Oh, hey, we got a caller. We got Greg on the line, so you just get Greg patched in here. We'll get him real quick. But all right. We got some great sponsors, and again, Big Corner Creative getting everything ready to go for the Salt City Speedway. So I was hoping to have it out this week, but I put a little delay in there for some of the things I want to change on the site and that kind of stuff too. So. SaltCitySpeedway.com. It'll be a Facebook page, an Instagram, a YouTube, and also the web page will be up. So be ready for that too. So who we got coming on?
We're getting Greg patched through
Greg?
here. So,
okay.
Yep.
Jeff Daniel, drive mode, slippery, puts it in 4A. Is that engaging for all the time or it's needed? Used first time and it felt like it was engaged. When you put it in 4 auto, because you got to remember what auto, when a 4-wheel drive is going, your front tires are turning just a little bit faster than your rears to help you steer the car and that sort of thing. And that's why auto came into play. Because if you put it in 4-wheel drive all the time, it couldn't handle the extra stress that front wheels was putting on the transfer case. So they came up with auto mode, which will engage and disengage it as it needs it by slipping modes and everything else that it reads off the traction control and that sort of thing too, Jeff. So I went cover that pretty fast. I figured we'd be having him patched through here, and here we go.
Yep, we'll get him on here. So let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Greg. Greg, you're on live with Under the Hood.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good. I called a little bit. I have a 4 and a 6-year-old. I've called in before and talked about how nice it is to have Wi-Fi in the vehicles, but as applied to your Salt City Speedway, I guess I've taken my kids to things like monster trucks. What are you planning for fan engagement, especially with the younger folks? Because I've never been to the races with my kids. What do you have planned? What do you have in the works?
Well, we've got a lot of things in the work there. That's one thing Lisa knows how to do, is throw a great party. We have a lot of events here at the dealerships and stuff, but there is going to be some things there. I've got to get approval for everything that I do there at the fairgrounds and stuff too. But we're talking about having face painters. We're talking about balloon guys. We're talking all that kind of stuff there to have fun with those kids. But I agree with you. We have to entertain the young kids and get them excited about going to the races too. It can't just be sitting and watching cars going in circles when they're that young and stuff too. But we do have some things in the making, in the works, and talking about what all we can do there. But we are going to have some fun stuff for the kids, because I get it. They got to be entertained. They got to have some fun too while we're watching the races, right?
Right. That's exactly why I was calling, because I thought, we haven't talked about it yet. I mean, I get the whole, go fast, turn left, but, little kids, if we're going to make it a family thing, where I may enjoy watching go fast, turn left, but the little ones, it's a different story.
No, I get it. I understand 100%.
Thanks for taking my call.
No problem. Thanks for calling. Great question. And like I said, there's a lot of more announcements coming and stuff, things we're going to do and stuff. And they're at the Salt City Speedway, so it'll be fun.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good day.
It sounds like your kids are a little riled up in the background.
They're ready to go.
So, yes, Dustin, what we did a few years ago with the car giveaway, that kind of stuff, it was a great fun time. Is that in the works too? We're talking about that too, of doing another car giveaway and that sort of thing too, stuff. But we have a lot of stuff on plans. We just got to get this first year through our belts and show the fair board they were wrong about wanting to tear down that racetrack. And once we show them that, Katie barred the door for 25, 26, 27. And then I can get some better dates. I can get more dates and that sort of thing, then get some dates that I want to race, not when only dates that are available, that sort of stuff too. So a lot of things in the works, a lot of stuff ready to happen. So stay tuned for more at the Salt City Speedway in Hutch. So anyway, real quick, we're running out of time, everything else too. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all the questions, all that good stuff. Hope I answered everybody's questions very well. We got to thank our sponsors, which is Big Corner Creative, who's getting everything ready to go for the webpage, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channels ready set up for that part of it. But again, if you need anything for your company, any kind of advertising, whatever, Big Corner Creative is there to help you get anything put together, from vehicle wraps, window wraps, race car wraps, window tint, whatever it is, to help make your company more profitable. And of course, BG Product. We've talked a lot about them today, of the great things we do with BG. Again, this week they took a couple cars, and it's fun to see those cars come back with the test results and things they've done with their products and stuff too. So if you want to keep your cars running many, many more miles, BG Products is the thing to do. And again, if you're looking for a rental car, a 12 or 15 passenger van, give Stan a call right inside here at Mel Hambelton Ford at Go to Rent. And Tiffany wants to see electric racing. Has been so fun to watch in 2023. So, hey, okay.
There you go.
So, anyway, everybody, hey, try to stay warm, stay cool, and we will talk to you next Saturday, 9 o'clock.